I know this doesn't fit the theme of the interview, but there's a question I want to ask you.
Yes.
Okay.
You're talking about algorithms. I saw a story on TikTok, and I think it was about you doing Comic View and how you hustled your way on a Comic View. I thought it was the coolest fucking story. Can you tell that here for this algorithm?
So Comic View was on the road. That was my favorite show. Like, I don't even know how old you are.
38. I grew up
Same.
watching Comic
You watched
View.
Comic View?
Yeah.
You remember Showtime at the Apollo?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you remember when cable kind of sucked and there wasn't that much shit on TV? And
I bought the Def Comedy Jam cassettes. They would send them to my house every month. I was in.
So explain that to these kids
This
now.
was before I was Filipino.
Yeah. So explain it to these kids now. It's like I don't know how to explain it, but like a black comic didn't get the best rooms or the best nights.
Right.
You know what I mean? So when you had a successful show like Comic View, they weren't going to put and I lived in Vegas, they weren't going to put them in Caesars. They weren't going to put them in the Mirage because they were black comics. We're not ready for that yet.
Right.
Rarely saw black comics anywhere.
Okay.
And so they put them in a restaurant. And this is Comic View. This is one of the biggest comedy shows on TV.
Yeah.
I mean, Martin Lawrence, Cedric the Entertainer.
D-Ray, I remember finding out about the Comic View.
Everybody was going. Ricky Smiley. Like this thing
Bruce.
This thing pushed out stars.
Yeah.
But for some reason in Vegas, they had to play a restaurant called Country Star, which was like a Planet Hollywood for country singers.
Wow.
And when I found that out, I was working at a dolphin habitat. And I was already like, this is like 1997 or whatever, 96.
Now, how long had you been doing stand-up at this point?
I was like 7 years in or so. And I was already like booking like these theaters. Like I would rent theaters and sell tickets and shit. I would make my own tickets and
fucking hustler, dude.
I would cut tickets up and sell them. And then this girl that I was working with, she was like, Comic View's here. I was like, what? Where? She's like, Country Star. I'm like, what the fuck is it doing at Country Star? And I went to my manager and told her, I go, can I please just leave early? I want to go to Comic View. And she let me go home early. And I was a tour guide, so I was already covered in sweat. And all I wanted to do was go home and put this suit on that I bought, right? Because I remember Eddie Murphy said, always wear a suit. He always wore a suit. And I was like, oh, okay, if you're going to do a big show, wear a suit. So I rushed home, got my suit. I had and I was still sweaty. It was awful. And I grabbed this fake resume. This resume that I made that I opened for all these people, and I played all these clubs around across the country. Everything was a lie, right? And then all I did were the local comedy clubs the local shows that I did. And then I brought this to the front door. There was a long line wrapped around Country Star, and I walked up to the security guard, and I go, "Hey man, I'm a local comic, and I just want to see if I can talk to the promoter and maybe just open the show up." And never has a security guard helped anybody, right? And this security guard goes, I'll be right back. And he went and got the promoter. And I still remember her name. Her name is Yvette Anderson. And she came up to the door. And then I go, hi, I'm a local comic. Everybody knows me. Nobody knows me. And I go, I'd love to open the show. And she goes, oh, we already got our comics. Show's about to start. And next, I'll take your resume. Next time I come back, I'll consider you. She goes, you want to watch the show? I go, fuck yeah.
That's sweet that she let you watch.
And she let me in.
Yeah.
And she sat me down next to all her equipment. And she had this thing called a Canon 3CCD camera. It was like beige and maroon. It was like a huge camera back then. I always wanted one, right? It was like a broadcast camera that they were selling. It was like $8,000 or some shit. And I saw it. And I remember, oh shit, that's the camera I want. And I was sitting next to it. And everybody was late, right?
Black. Yeah.
I'm not gonna say. Well, you're Filipino. This has nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
I'm on time all the time.
So everybody's late, and the crowd's booing, because they were like 45 minutes late. The show was like at 8. It's like 8:45, almost 9. And they're all booing, like, start the fucking show. She walks up to me. She's like, do you want to do some time?
No.
Wow.
She goes, do you want to do some times? Because they're a little late right now. And I go, if you can record it with that camera right there, I'll go up. And she goes, let me set it up. And she set it up. And then she brought me on.
Now you're going up to booze, or are they happy that someone's going on stage?
I remember the DJ, there was no host either.
Yeah.
And then the DJ goes, ladies and gentlemen, Jo Koy. And I walked out on stage. All black people. It was just a black room, right?
And you're not at all what they're expecting. Not only are you...
Yeah, they were there to see Bo P and I forgot who else was on that show. But Bo P was the big one on there. He was like the host. And he was one of my favorites, by the way. I loved Bo P.
Yeah.
And then and I went up and I smashed it, bro.
Yeah.
I remember this is back in the day when they used to raise the roof.
Oh, it's fire.
And they were all raising the roof. And then I started doing it. And I got it all on videotape. And then I walked off stage and Bo P was standing there. He's like, who the fuck is this? And she goes, some local comic. He's like, yeah, but you ever watch Comic View? And I go, I love Comic View and I love you, Bo. And he goes, you on Comic View. I go, what? He goes, next week. I'm going to make them call you next week. You coming out to Comic View. And I went on and did Comic View the following week.
Holy
That's so sick.
shit. There's a...
You know how I got Def Jam?
No.
So
Wait, hold on, real quick on this story.
Yeah.
Two things.
Yeah.
One is...
I have that on tape still. I still have
one,
that video.
I want to see that.
Yeah.
Two, do you remember what you opened with?
That's the fucking, yeah.
I'm always curious
really
when
don't.
people go up in
Great.
like harsh scenarios, what their first thing...
And to be honest, I bet you if we watch the tape, we're going to be like, this is fucking awful.
Yeah, sure.
You know what I mean? But it was like, I was like 7 years in.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then...
And it's the 90s. Comedy's changed so much.
No, I don't remember I don't even remember the set.
Yeah.
You know, it's also interesting.
I don't remember the set
People
at all.
don't think about. Nobody knew Filipino comics in '96. So just the idea of you going out there doing comedy, I'm sure the whole audience was like, "The fuck is this guy doing here?"
Yeah, it's crazy.
So to smash in that environment is crazy, and the opening must have been a haymaker, dude.
Yeah, and it was so cool. And then, oh man, never mind.
This is Comic View or this is this one?
So then the show starts, right? And
Yeah.
then the MC goes, it wasn't Bo P, I forgot. Bo P was the headliner. There was an MC, it was a young comic, I forgot his name.
Whoa.
And he went up after me. And I remember he was like, he didn't know I went up. So I'm just sitting in the audience. And then he starts doing his set and no one's laughing. He's like, God damn, none of you motherfuckers laughing? What do I gotta do to make you laugh? And this black chick goes, put that Asian motherfucker back on stage.
Let's go.
And they all went crazy. That was cool, man. And then that's how I got the Black College Comedy Tour, because I did BET's Comic View, and then I did the Black College Comedy Tour, and that's how I met Gary Owen and Honest John, and I was opening for like B Flat and Samar.
I love B Flat.
And Melanie Camacho, Michael Blackson. I was opening for JB Smooth, and I was bringing them to Vegas in like 98, 99. I was bringing them to Vegas.
Yeah.
And I had and Honest John goes, he goes, I'm gonna get you on Def Jam, man. I don't understand why they haven't said anything. I'm gonna introduce you to Bob Sumner.
Yeah.
I go, all right, cool. And I was working at like, I forgot, some hotel. And he goes, all right, we're coming. And by the way, this was Def Jam on the road, right? And it was at another country place called Sam's Town on Boulder Highway. They wouldn't put it on the strip. That's what they were doing to like black comics. It was crazy. So I go to Sam's Town on Boulder Highway, and I'm sitting, and my sister's with me, Rowena, and then her fiance. And I remember I got this camera, and I go, please, whatever you do, record this set. I need this set. And so now I'm backstage, and Bob Sumner walks up to me with Rudy Rush. You know Rudy Rush?
Yeah, Rudy's funny, dude.
Yeah, he used to host the
Dallas
Showtime
guy,
at the
I think,
Apollo.
right?
Yeah, he's out of Dallas.
Yeah.
But he was the host of Showtime at the Apollo tonight.
Yeah.
He took over for Steve Harvey.
Funny.
And now he's hosting Def Jam this night. My bad. He didn't come backstage yet. It was just Bob Sumner and Honest John. And Bob walks up to me and he's like, Honest John, he's eating. I remember he was eating. He's like, Honest John speaks highly of you. And I'm like, yeah. He goes, all right, this is what we're going to do. We're going to let you go up with the house lights on because they're still sitting in the room. And we're not going to open the curtain. We're just going to open up a little bit and you walk through the curtain, close the curtain behind you. Don't say, welcome to Def Jam. Just do your set and then just say goodnight and your name and then walk back through. Don't say anything about Def Jam. He didn't want me to be affiliated with Def Jam just in case I bombed, right? And then he walks off. And then and I'm looking at my sister like, I'm going to fucking eat shit. Why am I even going to go out there?
Yeah.
Like, this is awful.
It's like he's playing you a little bit.
Yeah, it's like 2,000 people. It's like lights still on.
They're still seating. They're still talking.
Yeah, it was awful. And then I remember the stage manager walked up and he goes, hey man, we're at like 70% capacity. I'm gonna bring them house lights down a little bit for you. He goes, but I can't open those curtains up. He goes, I can't do that, but I'll bring the house
lights
down.
is bigger.
Yeah,
than
right?
the curtain.
So literally, this is what happens. There's two guys holding the curtain. I'm standing there like this. My sister's like, come on, kill it. Kill it, you need to kill it. And they open the curtain and I crawl through and I'm like, hi everyone. And it's just, everyone's like, hey. And I just go into my act and like a standing O, right? Wow. And then they start stomping. You can hear them stomping in the bleachers. And then I crawl back through the curtain, and it's Bob Sumner, Honest John, and Rudy Rush, who's the host.
Yeah.
And Rudy Rush goes, man, who the fuck is this guy? And he goes, that's Honest John's friend. He goes, why the fuck did you put him on now? He goes, what the fuck, man? You should have put him on the show. I got to go up after this shit.
Oh, it's so sick.
And then he goes, I didn't know this motherfucker was funny. They're saying this in front of me as if I'm not there.
Yeah.
And my sister's crying like, oh my God, you killed it. You fucking killed it. And I swear to God, just like Bo P, Rudy looked at me and he goes, we're doing a comedy showcase on Showtime at the Apollo. You want to do it? I go, yeah, I want to do it. And he goes, how my people call you? And he goes, and you're going to be on Showtime at the Apollo. And then literally like a month later, I was on Showtime at the Apollo.
Get the fuck out of here.
And then I won Showtime at the Apollo.
Yeah.
Fuck, dude.
Is that set on YouTube still?
Yeah. And that's how I won Showtime at the Apollo.
Did you rub the wood for good luck?
And you want to know what's crazy?
Yeah.
People don't know this either, is I was doing these shows, right? But I didn't have any money because I was working at like I was taking odd jobs. So I was renting theaters and all this shit, and I was getting sponsors to pay for it. So so the back of the ticket would be blank, right? So I would go to Kinko's and put 8 to a page and cut them up, right? So the front would say Jo Koy's Comedy Jam, and then the back is blank. And I was like, ooh, I can make those into coupons and sell that as advertisement, right? So I walked up and down the street on Charleston Boulevard, right? If you're ever on Maryland Parkway in Charleston, there's a theater there called, in Vegas, it's called the Huntridge Theater, and it's not in the best place, right? It's pretty bad. So I'm walking up and down all these stores, and I'm just like, hey, I'm doing a show at the Huntridge, and I just want to know, can you sponsor me? I'd love for you to put your advertisement on the back of these tickets. It's already sold out, 800 people. You know what I mean? We could you put like a discount coupon on here, and I'll charge you like $1 a ticket. And everyone kept saying no, and I got to this oil place. I still remember, it was like a auto repair shop, and I don't know why, I just walked in, and I just go, hey, I'm doing a show down the street, Huntridge Theater, and I'd love to like sell the back of this ticket. Make it like a half-off coupon for an oil change or whatever. Be like $1 a ticket. It's already sold out. It's 800 people. And he goes, all right. I go, what? He goes, yeah, $800? All right, cool. His name was Paul Ogata. And then and I remember he grabbed a book of company checks and he wrote it out, Jo Koy Entertainment LLC, and he wrote $800. And I remember my mouth dropped like, holy fuck, he just paid for the venue. I was like, what the fuck? And he ripped that check out. I couldn't believe it, man. Like,
And at this point, you hadn't sold any tickets.
No.
Wow.
No, I haven't. But I knew I'd sell it out.
could get
though.
it. Yeah,
I knew I would sell it out.
Yeah.
And then I was a fan
How are you
of.
selling it out? Sorry.
I was just good, man. I was good at like telling people to buy tickets and.
So you would go on the street, hey, come buy tickets.
No, because people knew me from coffee houses.
Okay.
So I knew that. And then I was opening for people at Catch a Rising Star, and like Catch a Rising Star would give me 2-for-1 tickets, and I would hand them out to my friends. And like on a weekend show, it'd be packed, but it was all the 2-for-1 tickets that I handed out. And I'm like, well, why am I giving this headliner all this money? It's me. So then I started renting theaters, and I was like, I'm gonna take this money. You're paying me $50 a night, but I'm packing the room.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So then I started renting out theaters, and that's how I started selling that shit out. And I was a big fan of Dada footwear. Do you remember Dada footwear?
Yeah.
So Biggie would wear a hat, the tight hat, and like LL Cool J would wear.
Yeah, they sponsored Chris Webber, I think. I think he had a Dada shoe.
I was there during that production.
Huh.
And there's this thing called the Magic Convention. It's the men's apparel convention in Vegas. It's huge, right? And it's huge. And my friends were b-boys, and I used to throw b-boy events, right? It was called. Anyway.
What's it called?
Illis in the Game.
Okay.
And they were huge. That's why I know the Jabberwockies. That's why if you watch In His Elements on Netflix, the B-Boy segment, the guy that's doing it, Ronnie, I've known him for 20 years.
Oh, wow.
And we opened for Snoop Dogg together, right? At the Blaisdell.
That's
It's
so
fucking
fucking
crazy.
sick.
So like where I shot Coming In Hot at the Blaisdell, I opened for Snoop Dogg 25 years before that. And Snoop and Ludacris were 40 minutes late. And they kept making me go back on stage. And they wrote an article about me like, Jo Koy saved the Snoop Dogg show. Like, I still have the article cut out. So it was so crazy that the guy that wrote that article wrote the article for my Blaisdell Netflix special.
Black people's lack of punctuality has done so much for your career.
Yo, right?
It's really crazy.
Yeah.
So they were these b-boys. They were dancers, and they were like my friends. They were always doing my shows, and and they had a gig with tribal streetwear. So they would dance at the booths, right, during the convention. And I knew Dada was in there because I was checking in. I was such a big fan of the hat, right?
Yeah.
And I was working the front desk at this place called Alexis Park, and this guy came up, and he's paying for all the rooms in cash, right? Young black guy, right? He's maybe 25 years old, and he's paying all the rooms in cash. And I looked it up, and his name was Damani, and it said Dada Supreme, and I'm like, oh shit, that's that hat. And by the way, this is back in the day when there was no internet.
Yeah.
So if you fell in love with that hat that Biggie was wearing, you had to find someone that lived in New York to get it for you, because you're not gonna find it there's no internet,
right?
You know, or go through a magazine like, you know what I mean, like Source or something to see if it's in the back and maybe call the store. So I wanted that hat so bad, right? And I just looked at it and I go, yo, how's it working for that company? And he goes, oh, I love it. And he's paying for all the rooms cash. It's like 10 rooms cash. I go, damn, that's incredible, man. I love that hat. Biggie wears that hat. I want that hat. How do I get that hat? He goes, oh, I'll get you a hat. I go, really? Oh, that's dope, man. Like what do you do? He goes, I own it. I'm like, what?
Yeah, that's crazy.
I go, what? He goes, yeah, I own it. His name was Damani. I forget his last name, Damani. And he sent his assistant. She brought me all this merch, and I always remember what he looked like, right? And when my show started popping off, I was like, I'm gonna walk up to him again and tell him about my show. Yeah. So my friends were b-boys, and they were doing tribal streetwear, the booth, and the lanyards to get in were like $500-600 to get in, and they had two, so they both went in, and then he would take the other dudes, come back out and gave it to me, and I literally stood by the Dada booth for 4 fucking days. I literally went every single day until he came, and he finally came, and I saw him. I go, that's that dude, and I walked right in that booth. I go, hey man, I met you. You gave me the hat. And he goes, oh yeah, I remember you. And I go, yeah, I told you I did comedy shows. Yeah. He goes, did you call Carlos? Because he gave me Carlos, the marketing guy's name and number. And I go, I called, but he never picked up. And he goes, oh, Carlos. And then Carlos pops up. He pops up from behind the rack, and he looks up. He goes, man, get over here. He goes, this dude I was telling you about. He's a comedian. I met him at the hotel. Blah blah blah. He's got a comedy show. And then Carl's like, I'm sorry, man, I never got back to you. He goes, load him up with whatever he wants. So I walk out of the convention with a bunch of shit, and then Carlos, who's my friend to this day, one of my best friends, he goes, call me, man, because we want to do a comedy show, and we'll sponsor you. And he goes, I'm sorry about that, man. We've just been really busy. Because they were blowing up. They got the Chris Webber deal. They got the Snoop deal. They were doing big shit. And he goes, just come to the office. So I drove there in my Honda Prelude with one broken taillight, drove there, 2nd Avenue, Los Angeles Street, you know what I'm talking about? The garment district. And I remember I made this fake price sheet. I made like a fake price sheet for a comedy show. You know what I mean? And I was sitting, I was so nervous, man, because I thought I was asking for too much money. I think it was like $5,000 for this comedy show. Because he goes, just give us a breakdown and we'll see if we can sponsor it. He goes, Lance is a huge comedy fan. Lance is the other owner. He owns the footwear department. This is so much information. You can cut it down. You got 4 cameras to cut from. And I'm sitting downstairs, right? I got this whatever it is that I made, this price sheet, and then this big, good-looking black guy. Wow, the biggest afro, bro. It's like massive. He's got light blue glasses on, sunglasses, light blue. Everything was light blue, all the way to the toes. And I hand him my thing. He goes, I'm Lance. He was like, what's up, Lance? And he sits down. He goes, yeah, I'm a big fan. He goes like this. And he goes, so is this the price? I go, yeah. He goes, all right, cool, we'll do it. And he put it down. And I go, that's it? He goes, yeah, man, let's do this. I go, oh, shit. I should ask for more. Yeah. And I walked out of there, and from that day on, I was sponsored by Dada Footwear, like from like 98 to like 2000, whatever, just doing comedy shows. The American Express corporate card, like they gave me the like an authorization form or whatever, so I could charge it all the hotel rooms.
Get out of
all
here.
the comics,
That's
yeah,
so
and then
sick,
all the
man.
flights, they would book it for me. So when you see me do Showtime at the Apollo, you'll see me wearing that hat that Biggie wore, this tight hat.
Yeah.
That's because Dada
was
paid
sponsoring.
for me to fly to do Showtime at the Apollo.
So fucking cool.
Crazy.
Isn't that nuts?
And that same magic convention, that's where you met the Jabberwocky? One of the
No, I knew Jabberwockies because I was throwing b-boy events.
Ah, yeah.
So those b-boy events that I was throwing, this is back when they were like 10, 11, 12.
So when they're kids.
They were I knew them when they were kids. So I knew all those people. I'm a B-boy, bro. Like I
You
used
and
to do
Russell
that
seem
shit.
like kindred spirits to me. You and
Yeah.
Russell Peters.
Yeah, man, for real. Like he's a DJ. So.
Yeah, but just in the hip hop culture,
Oh, hip-hop
Hustler's
all the
been
way,
doing
yeah.
it for a minute. Yeah, got your respect, doing fucking arenas. Like, yeah, you guys seem like kindred spirits to me. Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy, right? It's crazy how that all came full
They're
circle, right?
12
So
years
crazy.
old, or 10 or 12 years old, and then you see them explode.
Yeah,
did
but when I met Ronnie, he was like 16, 17. You know, he's with Full Force. He's like Red Bull BC1 champ. Like he's
so these
he's
guys
the coach. He's the coach for the Olympics now. But when I met him, he was 16. Like 20
so
something
these
years
guys
ago.
were already very established within the
No,
B-boy.
they weren't. They were just kids. They were B-boys.
But you
now
said-
they blew up.
Oh, but you said when
Now
you
he
met
is.
him, he was already sponsored by Red Bull.
No.
Oh.
Now he's now he's sponsored by Red Bull.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
when we were just on the come up, like when I was trying to do stand up,
Yeah.
and by the way, the shows I did at the Hunt Ridge always had B-boys. And so like I got footage of all that shit. Like
When are you going to put out a doc?
Yeah.
I
Seems
should
like you have all these.
I
Like,
have it all, man. We're working on it, but like, yeah, people don't.
that'd be a really.
I mean, that
fun
footage
journey.
alone from
Yeah, it's crazy.
Apollo or Comic View, any of those would be
I got
fucking
footage
crazy.
of JB Smooth smashing,
Yeah,
smashing my
You're
show
not the
when,
only one.
when no one knew. No, I'm talking like when no one knew.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but JB is.
But no one knew.
another planet. Dude.
But you don't understand. No one knew.
Yeah.
Like this was like in the '90s.
It might be the hardest I've
No
ever
one was
laughed.
fucking with. Huh?
It might be the hardest I've ever laughed. I saw.
I remember-
I'm telling you, I opened for him at I was on this thing called the Black College Comedy Tour.
Yeah, you were saying.
And like I was the other. So the roster was a bunch of black
You
comics.
were the college. Yeah,
and
you were the
so-
college part.
yeah. I was college. Yeah. So it was like they had to have diversity, right?
Yes.
You couldn't put
Yeah.
two black comics on one show because it's too many black people.
Yeah,
You know
yeah,
what I mean? At the college, like that's too many.
Yeah.
We need diversity.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh, we got diversity. What do you got? You have an Asian guy? We got Jo Koy. Do you have a white guy? Jo Koy.
Yeah.
You got a
Double
Latino
down
guy?
on you.
Jo Koy. So I was like all the others,
Right.
man. It was like me, Honest John, and Gary Owen. Doing it.
I saw JB in like 07, so it was
Yeah.
later. But it was on a show with David Arnold hosting. Rest in peace to David
Yeah.
Arnold, by the way. Kevin Hart was there. I think D-Ray came through.
Yeah.
And then they had JB Smooth close it out. And I was like, Heaven, this guy closed it out. Who is this guy? And he fucking lit the room on fire. It was in like Inglewood or something.
What year was that?
It was like 07, 08,
Oh, you're talking
maybe.
about the casino.
Maybe.
Yeah,
Maybe.
That's crazy. Those were fun times, by the way.
Set it on fire.
Like
dude.
Cat in the Hat's room and all that.
Yeah, maybe. I think it was Cat in the Hat. And he did the
Yeah.
lean-in shit about the, the old shoes.
That's
oh
Cat in
my
the Hat.
God.
That was back
dude.
in the day. Those
Yeah.
were fun nights.
Yeah.